Episode 90. Oh my. Here we go. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? Heineken Zero. All right. There we go. And bam. What up, people? Cardone here. This is my evening hour show, episode 90. I can't believe it. It's Monday, my favorite day of the week, and you're watching the channel, Cardone Entertainment. What's up? We got a group in here coming in. Let me pour the rest of this no alcohol beer. I am a fan of no alcohol beer, and today I'm skateboarding down the street, and I see a Heineken truck handing out free booze. No alcohol booze promo. So the lady, I don't want to get him in trouble, she goes, here, right? And then they were like, you want to take more than one? Which they had a whole truck to get rid of, so they want to get rid of them fast. So here comes me looking all excited, and I took 3 six-packs. So thank you, Heineken. I will promote the shit out of it. And yes, that is the beer I was yes. Yes. Yo, Joel, I got your mystery. Did you get it? Did I just see you got a new mystery box in there? I think I did see. What's up? I just saw some mystery box people, and I think, Joel, you were on there. Fallon's getting a poster. People are spending their prize tickets. That's good. So, yeah, I've got 3 six-packs of no alcohol beer, which I like. And I got to say, the Heineken one's pretty tasty. It tastes literally 20 times better than an O'Doul's. Maybe 50 times better. Yeah, out of the NA beers, that's one of the best ones. Well, free is great. But yes, I am a fan of no alcohol beer, and I hit the jackpot today, so thank you, Heineken. What else? Before we get moving here, I got a juicy subject tonight. Let's give some shout outs. We got Ruby, William, my mama. What's up, mama? Yeah, come on in. Joel? Joel's in here. Yeah, we got a crowd. And in a minute, we're going to have an even bigger crowd as they creep in. Come on in, creepers. So, I am the proud owner of an amazing hot tub. And I did a show on it last week. And I was going to do my show in it tonight, but it's a little tricky. Because to do that, I need to use my phone and not this. Achilles, what's up? And it's a little loud when the jets are on. You know? But we have been partying it up since we got it. And I gotta say, it's out of control. It's actually something to look forward to. Oh, no. Oh. I'm going to have the beer yawns tonight. Whenever I sip on no alcohol beer, I'm way more yawning. Lilith Malone and Rod in the house. What's up? So, eventually I'm going to try to wire it up so we can do an episode by the hot tub. That would be sweet. Unfortunately, it's not set up for that right now. But I will say, it's great. It's running sort of smooth. There's a little issue I need to figure out that... there's a protection mode that keeps getting triggered, and it might be the electricity. I don't know. But anybody wants to get a hot tub and you need advice on it, call me. I'm the guy. I did a lot of research. So, yeah. What else? Points and games. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, people are playing the points in the games. Tubbing. Tubbing. Yeah, I'm a tubber. Hot tub leisure guy. I've always been fascinated by limo drivers and hot tub salesmen. It's like a certain type of character. What else? Oh! I just bought my first opera tickets for the season. That's what I did today. I haven't seen an opera for a good solid year and a half. I try to go 4 times a year. 2 at the least. So I just got tickets. La Boheme. I never got to see that one. I know the music. I know the Puccini stuff. I've been dying to see it. It's got some hit songs in it, and I hear the storyline is I know a little bit about the plot, and I was looking it up today before I got tickets, but I like the songs. I mean, I'm a fan of the Puccini melodies. He knows how to bust out a melody. So if we have any Puccini experts out there who know about operas, I can't wait to chew on it after. I bought this book years ago. It's called 100 Great Operas. I'll do a close-up. Boop. See this book? 100 Great Operas? Basically, it's a synopsis of a lot of operas. And if you're like me and you like to constantly be learning about little facts and numbers and whatnots, these are the kind of books that when I was a little kid, I loved. It's a source book. People always ask me how I know so many little weird things, and I think it's because my hobby has been reading source books, dictionaries, encyclopedias. One of my favorite books when I was a kid was like this Sesame Street Encyclopedia, Guinness Book of World Records, compilations of info I always liked. And here, I mark this one. Whenever I see an opera and know about it, I kind of mark it off. I'm trying to read these. Ooh. Lady Love. Limo driving stories. Oh yeah, dude, I'm sure. Limo driving is it's a very unique gig. Oh yeah, I keep my tickets in here too. So anyway, I am an opera fan. I like live music, and to me that is the ultimate live music. Live orchestra, live singing, no microphones. Come on. In an acoustic room. The stagecraft alone is worthy of the price of admission, let alone watching people take their human voice as literally as far as humanly possible. It is the Olympics of singing. It is the pinnacle of what these vocal cords can push. So, yeah. Anywho, Larry David was was a limo driver. Wow. What else before we get into the juice? Satanic playing cards news. We're getting close to print. We thought we were going to be done early. No, we're going to be done on time. Looks like we're going to be done like pretty much right on the button. We have a couple little things we needed to do that we didn't forget. I don't know if you know this, but on a pack of cards, where do I have cards? There's a seal at the top. It's a stamp, it's a sticker, and you got to tear it to open them up. So, most people just tear it and open it, but I wanted it to mean something. And we talked about it for a long time. And, Phantom of the Opera is not an opera. But I do like Phantom of the Opera. I've seen it twice on Broadway. And I like the opera sequences in it. We'll talk about Phantom. I'm a fan of that show. I do like it a lot. But anyway, the Satanic playing cards. I really wanted to... Amanda J., what's up? I really wanted to make it so that when you tore the seal, it meant something. It had a symbolic meaning, And so we did that today. I don't want to spoil the surprise just yet. There's some people watching right now that had some insight on it. I'm not going to say who just yet. But yes, anywho, we're getting close to print. It's the files are getting lined up. There's a couple little... This has to be perfect, folks. I don't want to mess this up. It's my first Kickstarter, and it involves a product. And it involves me, another artist, and the printer. I forget the printer guy's name. The company's Legend, but I forget the name of the actual printer, the boss of the playing card company. Now, my partner has... La Traviata. I haven't seen it, but I have friends in that one, right? That were in the last production. I think that's the one they did a Coney Island theme. Yeah. They did a modern Coney Island theme. So a couple of my sideshow buddies got in it. So, yeah. So we're dealing with a printer, and I'm dealing with another artist. And we want it to be perfect. Now, my other artist guy's done a few Kickstarters before. He's produced playing cards before. He's the experienced one on the timeline. I am not. I'm the guy that gets things done. I know I'm the organizer and thinker. The conceptual guy. The guy coming up with the meat. And my buddy and I work really well together. So... yeah, I want everybody to have a really cool pack of cards they put on their coffee table. And if they're into cardistry and manipulating them, they get to do that. If they're into divination with playing cards, you can do that too. And if you just want to play poker with them, go right ahead. I like playing cards. I like shuffling them. The deck of cards my buddy gave me, who I made this deck with, who's my partner, I use them a lot just for... cardistry, just for shuffling purposes, and they are still in perfect shape. They're a little bit of a thicker cardstock. I don't like thick cardstock when I'm doing Magic. I like tally-ho, and I like really thin cardstock so I can do this kind of stuff right away. This, in a deck of bicycle cards or these other cards, takes a long time to break them into this condition. I like crispy cards. Crispy means I can do these kind of things, right? These new ones are crispy and will last. So we knew people were going to buy them to keep them, not to burn through them. I burn through those. Oh, my sis is here. What's up, sister? How's the beach where you are? You must have had a good beach day today too, eh? I just saw we're getting massive waves this week. We have a storm front moving in, and we're going to get some big ones. Yeah, a lot of people are going to keep one sealed, and there's some special cards in this. You guys are really going to like it. And if you're a magician, it comes with 3 extra cards just to do a magic trick. And I know people that are going to buy the whole deck just to get those 3 little cards. I swear to God. The cards are designed to do a type of 3-card Monty. You know the old on the street game? Hey, pick a card, find the lady, win the money, find the lady, find the queen, right? Well, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to do that for real, the actual scam. Me and my buddy who did this, we both do that. We can both throw 3-card Monty. So we're going to be teaching that in a tutorial with the satanic cards. It comes with a special set for a different version of the 3-card Monty, and that is a version where it's a little bit of a story. It's more of a story than a scam. So we're going to teach both. So that's where that is at. I'm going to get into the subject. If you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notify, do the whole thing. I ain't asking for donations, although I am going to ask for donations at some point, and so is my robot. I do like getting donations, don't get me wrong. And last week, friends, at the end of the show, someone threw in a 50. John, thank you. $50, thank you so much. It goes right into this show. It costs me money to run this channel every month. I forget what I pay a month to run all this junk. It's like 30 or 40, I don't know. Yeah, so anywho, thank you for the donations, but the least thing you can do is hit that stupid subscribe button. It is not easy to get it up. They don't push these shows around. they want me to prove that I have something of merit before they push it around. So anywho, yeah, I also at 9 o'clock tonight need to bust out of here because my neighborhood is still going off. We have the party weekend, which I partied all weekend in the hot tub. And then we have a film fest out here. We have the Surfer Girl Film Fest. Female Surf Film Fest. I think it's the only one in the world. And people come here from all over the world to be here for it and to show their films at the Surf Club. So the Rockaway Beach Surf Club all week is doing movies. I will be there tonight. I will be there throughout the week to support the cause. Was Jim there? Cool. I might be going to DC next week, so maybe I'll visit you then, sister. I'll stop over. All right, let's get into the subject. Tonight, I called it The History of Philosophy and Xanadu. And it's more of not a history of Xanadu, but my definition of the word and how I use it. But the real meat of tonight is the origins of philosophy. Let me turn this down. Let me know if I'm sounding good. I have a lot to say tonight. I've been studying philosophy now for almost a year. About 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week. I've been talking about it with every single person I can talk about it with. It went from a curious interest to literally becoming a part of my daily life. I always used to joke and say that if I had another lifetime, I would love to go to college again and study philosophy. And it's true. That was always a dream of mine. I remember when I heard that Steve Martin went to school for philosophy. I was like, he was a magician who went to school for philosophy. Steve Martin. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. I dig it. So instead of going to college and burning my money and giving it to a bunch of people that aren't worthy of taking my dineros, I'd rather keep my own money and do my own curriculum and do it myself. And that's what I've been doing. And I think thank you very much, Lilith. Yeah, I moved the mic a little closer tonight. And I think I'm doing okay. I every now and then, I'll do a little research on how to study philosophy or the techniques of teaching philosophy or how a philosophy teacher gives it out or what are the courses in what order. And I do that to kind of make sure I'm doing something of the right track. I just don't want to willy-nilly kind of throw it around. Although I started that way because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I wanted to focus on one philosopher. That's it. Epicurus or Aristotle or whatever, Zeno. One of these guys, one of the early ones. Maybe I didn't want to start with Socrates. I wanted to jump in a bit. And it ended up, that doesn't work. That didn't work. Philosophy is it is a science of sorts because it's a body of knowledge that builds on itself. So as I'm reading Seneca, he's referring to Epicurus and Socrates. I mean, he's Zeno and Cato, who's technically, I guess, a philosopher. He's talking about all these guys. So now I want to know what they said. Oh, you're going to be teaching. That's good. My sister teaches hospitality. Hotel management and hospitality. Cool gig. So I started jumping around. And my curious bones made me jump into the future. And I did start reading some of the absurdists and the existentialist guys. And, I jumped up. So I started reading all over. But I did focus on the Stoics. And I really wanted to... they did. So they told you, Joel, that it was hard to get into it. Interesting. Oh, yes. Science was born from philosophy. I'm going to talk about that tonight. I really wanted to learn about where it started, what they thought was the first philosophy movement of what we call modern philosophy, which is, yes, well, beyond that, the first guy to make math discoveries was Thales of Miletus. We'll talk about him in a second. I mean, these guys really were the first scientists, the first mathematicians. They were the first at a lot of things. And I really thought it was important to, like, eventually dig into the beginning. And so I did. And I'm going to continue I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start at this beginning part and kind of go through an overview of the historical scope of where the philosophy movements kind of moved. Starting from the Western point of view, I am going to start doing the Eastern too, because the Eastern is very different in some ways. Different value systems and different things in there. But while I'm doing that and studying this philosophy as a body through the time, I am going to be detailing it in between while I'm doing it. Right now I'm reading Xenophon in detail. I started at the beginning and I'm going through it. I want to hear his account of Socrates. He's not as popular as the Plato stuff. So I thought, you know what? I like Xenophon as a historical character, as a military genius, as an all-around tough guy. And I thought I'd like to read him. So that's where I'm detailing now. I'm also reading Nietzsche, and I'm reading some of the Cynics. I'm reading Crates and his woman, Hipparchia, and I'm reading, I'm always reading the Diogenes stuff. There's not a lot, but I am. Agora, how do you call it the field of philosophy, but it clearly, astronomy and science. Yeah. Logic, argument. Okay. This is great. Symbolic logic. Wow. Okay, this is great. You guys rule. I always tell people the reason why I do these shows is I have a cool crowd. And there you go. So let's start. The first philosopher, also known as the father of science, Thales of Miletus, 624 BC, to about 545 BC. Stop and think about that, folks. 624, 600 BC. Wow. Father of science, first known person whom a math discovery happened. He made some major math discovery. I don't know which exactly it. He basically stopped using mythology to explain everything, and he started coming up with some ideas, right? Quantitative Monoist. Oh, we'll get into that in a second. He thought matter was a living thing inside of it, which is called now I need glasses. A hylozoist. But anyway, so let's get into the origins of this all. Let's say that the Western philosophy movement started around the Aegean Sea, which is that area where Greece is right there. And why there? Well, just look at a map. East, West, Middle East, Europe, Asia, kind of in the middle of it all, of sorts. Sea, travel, trade, right? Makes sense. Yeah, all DIY, I'll say. Really DIY. And the early philosophers, they had two major things. One was the order and the origins of the natural universe. Makes sense. As soon as you get rid of the mythology of why the clouds are there, you go, all right, what really is going on here, folks? What the hell is that thing, right? And then, does the universe and nature have a moral order? That was the other part to that. Clearly, there's some sort of organization of it all, and clearly it kind of works in some ways. There's happy stuff, there's bad stuff, but there's still an order to it all. And they thought, because there's an order, there must be some reason for that. Is there a morality of it? The dramatists reflect these causalities from the above. So while these guys are thinking, a lot of the people writing plays and stories, and they're starting to go into these things too. It was the can of worms. As soon as someone said, hey, I have another idea why that works, and then someone explains it and it makes a little bit of sense, you've just opened a can of worms to more questions, which is the secret part to this whole thing. Maybe there ain't no answers, but it's more questions and more questions and more questions, and that is awesome, and that's where this all goes. So we're going to call all these old school dudes, they're called Pre-Socratic Philosophers. They're before Socrates. Socrates is the man. He's the one that, I mean, he ain't the first, but he's the most famous. So now we're going to break down the Pre-Socratic philosophers into how they saw things. Qualitative monoism or pluralism, meaning is everything that we know of, meaning my arm, this microphone, these glasses, is it all made from one core element that then makes all the other elements? Or is it made of lots of little elements that are all separate that come together to make one? Okay? That's a qualitative, meaning it's quality. What is it? Is it monoism? Is it one thing or is it many things? And then quantitative also has monoism and pluralism. Quantitative is the world, the universe one, or is it many little things that make up one? Now here's the thing. A lot of these are points of view. And we'll get into that because this is where it starts getting wild. Sense experience is a part of this. So we're just using our senses to do this, right? Now, here's where it starts to get neat. Let's look at the elements where everything is made of, or at least they thought. The 4 classic elements: water, earth, air, fire. Basic elements. Most cultures have them. I didn't realize until today, my partner who I'm doing the cards with, he pointed out in Chinese, they don't have air. Their classic elements are like wood, water, metal, and I think fire. I think wood was in there. So some of these guys, Thales thought everything was made of water. He thought that everything had some sort of water in it as its core element, which is funny because we know now that water is made of H2O, hydrogen and oxygen. So it's 2 things. See, they didn't know that. So it looks like one thing, and water is in all things, but yet it's 2 things. They didn't know that. And also, there's another opinion. So some people thought, everything's made of water. That's the core thing that makes everything come together. Some people thought that maybe it's none of those things. Maybe it's something completely separate. An element that is unnameable. It's the core element to all things we know, and they called it a pyron. And a pyron means it can't be defined. That's what it means. I think that is, in a way, an allusion to atoms, what atoms are. Yeah. If you think about it, everything's got these atoms in it. They're different. Well, okay, hold on. I don't want to jump ahead. So now we have things that are opposing qualities. People thought, well, everything has a quality, but then there's the opposing quality. And if there's an opposing quality, then they're even. They're not, one's not better or different than the other. Light, dark, wet, dry, hot, cold, right? Examinees thought that air was the element that tied it all together. Oxygen, some sort of air, wind. They were playing with what they knew. Earth, air, fire, water. That's all they knew. They didn't have microscopes. They didn't have the body of knowledge built upon itself yet. So part of the how did we get here and where are we, that is it's not just philosophy, which is this part of just thinking through it and questioning things and coming up with concepts of how things work. There's an actual body of knowledge that goes with that too. And these guys were keeping track of it, which is kind of cool. Now we got Pythagoras and Heraclitus. And when I say Pythagoras, I mean the guy that you've all heard of. The guy that came up with the Pythagorean stuff in math. Now, Pythagoras and Heraclitus both independently thought of this. That nature always has a double aspect. And I like this. Because a lot of people don't think like this. I always thought it's very solipsistic to think that, and not good, that your way is the way. Your way is your way for you, but there's different ways going on. So to me, what Pythagoras and Heraclitus came up with, which is, this is really cool. It's the double aspect nature of things. For instance, a saucer, a cup, a bowl. When you look at a bowl, is it concave or convex? Well, if you look at it from the above, you see concave. If you're underneath it looking up, it's convexed. So your perception changes the actual nature of what this thing does. And they noticed that all of nature had this kind of, this thing. And they also thought, and this is really cool, this is the dual nature of everything. Everything is in a process of change. And then two, everything has an order, a uniformity in nature, a predictability of sorts. It's yes, everything's moving and changing, but yet there's some sort of order, and it's predictable. And that duality is interesting. Fire is always if you look at fire, it's never the same. It's moving like this in a random manner, it seems. Logos. That is the uniformity of nature. Logos. So, seeing the world from these ancient eyes, right? Like looking at it like, there's this weird duality here going on of like, if you change your perspective, it looks different. It's not the same. It actually has a different function almost. And they thought that the fact that things are changing constantly, yet there's an order to it all, and that it's slightly predictable, well, that means something. That means that maybe we as people should also try to have some sort of logical order to our lives that mirrors nature. Because clearly there's some sort of system. Maybe we should strive to also be logical and orderly like the system. Maybe we should also have a morality of sorts. Yeah, Fraggle Rock. Dude, you can find deep wisdom in the strangest places. Remember when I did a show called Victoria Santa Cruz? I don't know what episode it is. I need to have an episode list so I can say what they are. It might have been in the 30s or 20s. Well, she used to say she got a lot of insight from the Smurfs. And I know, William, you're a Smurfs fan like me. Yeah, so Fraggle Rock, that makes sense. Now we have the guys that didn't believe in pluralism at all. They thought the Eleatics. They thought all things that changed were illusionary and not really changing. And the senses are just literally picking up on these illusions. Truth comes from the abstraction of thought. Zeno, who's the founder of Stoicism, went into this realm, which I thought was interesting. And pluralism is a paradox to them. But I will say, our senses are illusionary sometimes. That's true. They do play tricks on us, so he was partially right. But as it always being, I don't know. Sense perception is relative and changing. Radical pluralism, everything disassociated. Individualism, no law. Okay, so let me keep moving here because I want to tie some of this together. So we've got the people that thought everything's made of one thing. Then we have the people that thought that there's the duality thing, where there's all of these two opposing things and everything's made of that. Oh, here we go. Pythagoras, seed theory. Oh yeah, they thought everything in our bodies were seeds. There's a seed for making bones. There's a seed, and I don't mean a real seed, but a Genesis type thing for making blood. A seed for making hair. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like what cells are. So a lot of these guys, they're daydreaming of how everything worked. They were kind of in the right track of a lot of things. It's just crazy. Now, the funniest part of this is the teleological. So, okay. Some of these guys thought that the order of the universe was so perfect and so extraordinary that there is some sort of metaphysical, theological, theistic notion to it all. I can see where they got that from. Today, I think I did an episode on this. I mean, we don't have too many ancient atheists because they couldn't come up with what this came from. Then we have Darwin. Because of him, more people are like, yeah, it doesn't look like there's some sort of creator. It could be some sort of mechanical thing. So check this out. This is where it gets kind of cool. Democritus. This guy, he was a qualitative monist, but a quantitative pluralist. I love that I know what these words all mean now. I didn't know for years, and now I got it. So he thought everything was made of something like atoms. Qualitative monist, meaning everything really is made of one thing. Atoms. And quantitative pluralist, he thought that these atoms, yes, they make up everything, but many atoms make up different things. So a cauliflower and a king are the same atoms. It's just puzzled together differently. I like this because he was pretty much on the right track of sorts on certain things. He thought everything was blind forces in the universe. It had a mechanical nature, yet he had an explanation. And that's what a lot of this modern science stuff does. The teleological guys, the exactgorist, I can't even read my own writing. The people that thought there was some sort of metaphysical, he's like, no. That model works in your logic, but in his logic and reasoning, he's like, you don't need it. So, ancient atheists. Oh yeah, here, I broke it down. The Milesians were qualitative monoists, meaning everything is made up of the same thing. It's one thing. Pythagoras and Heraclitus, they were double aspect theorists. The Eleatics, they were absolute monists and thought everything was the same thing. The pluralists thought there was lots of things going on, and some of them thought it was metaphysical, and some of them thought it was mechanical. And we have between Thales, the first philosopher that I said in the beginning, to Socrates, we have about 200 years of this. And this is where it gets interesting. Why? Why bother? Well, because it did invent science. This thinking, this brain, this mentality, this curiosity, it invented science and modern math. It really did. So, yeah, it should be taken seriously. Natural philosophy, the seed for empirical science. The philosophy is deeply woven into the mind. I mean, once they open the can of worms to asking questions, you start asking more questions. And the more questions you ask, you can start knocking off ideas. You know, we sorted this out. We're sorting this out, right? Kind of cool. God. Now, where does this all go? So, here's something funny. And I've talked about this many times. This is post-Socrates. They thought things had qualities. This is Socrates, Plato. I think this is more Plato. Might even be a little bit of Aristotle. But they thought everything had qualities that made it what it was. And that the qualities were its true form. The analogy is the triangle. You can get rid of all the triangles in the world, but as long as somebody knows what a triangle is, three even sides coming together in points, triangles exist. So that means a triangle's true form is its concept. Glasses. Plastic, which is oil. Things that go on the side, and two pieces of glass that go in front of your eyes. The glass is shaped in a manner, right? I can describe what it is. So we get rid of glasses all over the world. We burn them all. So as long as somebody knows what the plan is and how to make them, they exist. So I've met people that have taken lots of DMT and they have seen something maybe they're not supposed to see. Some sort of internal thinking process that unlocked in their mind. Can this be achieved without drugs? Maybe. Through deep meditation, through certain activities. Obviously, drugs can unlock it like that. So, I've met two people that said they saw God. They felt it building up, and then it was revealed to them. And you'll never believe what they saw. They saw God was nothing more than math. When I heard them say that, I got goosebumps. Because I always thought maybe that's what it is too. It's something that shockingly simple and basic. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I have more questions. But maybe that is what it is. It's the building block for everything is a math equation. Why do I want to learn the origins of philosophy? It's helping me understand how this works. What's the first question? I would love to get little kids. I want to start asking little kids these philosophical questions. I think little kids are the secret to a lot of things. they're not polluted, especially the ones that aren't raised on a television. Yeah, I'd like to ask them what they think about certain things. That's a neat experiment. Were they on drugs? Who, the ancient philosophers or the people that saw God? The people I said that saw God were on DMT. Ancient philosophers? Well, they did have oracles, and they do think some of them were noxious fumes. So, yeah. There's also theories that a lot of this stuff started after people taking hallucinogenic mushrooms. It's possible. I can't stop learning philosophy because it's become a drug of sorts. I get a dopamine blast when I discover a new thing, a new way to look at something. I feel like when I wake up in the morning, I'm not kidding, I really feel like I'm treasure hunting. It's the best thing I can say. Wow, I'm going to read this. Someone wrote something here interesting. Achilles. You can find a lot of difference between the ancient philosophers, but all of them agree that this universe has not been made by God. I don't know about that. I don't know if they all thought that. I would say some of them might have. Yeah, I mean, as for ancient atheists go, there weren't many. They did mostly believe in some sort of deity or something. And again, I think it's because we evolved to do that. I think we evolved to see deities and to experience them through transcendental means and through our hidden agent, our creative mind making up things. I also think our brains evolved to hide certain functionalities that we do. We blind ourselves from certain functionalities. Like the free will stuff, like a lot of that, it feels like we're making choices, but we're not. So, yeah. I think the whole notion of us feeling like there's a God. So one of the cases for having free will is the proof is it feels like it's there. I mean, I have a choice. I can go here or here, right? It feels like it. Well, take a guess what most people's arguments are when they ask about God. It feels like there is one. It feels real. It feels right. It's in your heart. It's all feeling based. Very similar in some ways. And so I think we did evolve to do that. And I always try to take that into consideration. I also try to take into consideration that the ancient philosophers were coming from a monotheistic world mostly. Polytheistic world. There were monotheistic things, but mostly it's polytheistic. Lots of truths. And speaking of truths, I'm going to wrap up the last 10 minutes talking about Xanadu. Now, my earliest memory of the word Xanadu was going to see the movie with my sister, who I believe is watching. 1980, movie theater. I think we saw it at the mall, and Olivia Newton-John roller skating movie. And I think Don Bluth, the guy that did Dragon's Lair, did the animation sequence. And Fred Astaire is in the movie. It's a roller disco movie. It's beautiful. It's got a great soundtrack. It's a ridiculous story. And I always took the word Xanadu to have a magic meaning. It's Xanadu. It's magic. Well, I didn't realize it, but it really was a real place. It was a capital in Mongolia. 1263 around. Kublai Khan was the boss. Grandson of Genghis Khan. And I think the reason why it stood out as being a cool city that people talked about was he changed the buildings. Instead of having Mongolian yurts, he's like, nah, I want to have castles. I want to make it cool. So Marco Polo described Xanadu, except he called it Shangdu. Had a different name. It's also called Kaiping, but Xanadu is its other name. And Samuel Taylor Coleridge, in his Kubla Khan poem, wrote about it. He's the guy that wrote Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which I learned about via Iron Maiden. Thank you, Iron Maiden, for opening up my brain to some literature. Oh, there we go. That book is on. Oh, he talks about DMT in that book. My eyes aren't working today. Everything's really blurry today for some reason. What was I gonna say? I feel like it's so funny. I'm drinking no alcohol beer, but I feel kind of, and I think it's the hops. Whenever I have hops in beer, it does relax you without getting drunk, but I feel kind of sleepy. So Xanadu for me was that word. I didn't really realize it, but I started using it as a hashtag, as a thing, to describe my perfect state of being. It's my version of ataraxia, which is the, oh my God, Moonlight's asking me if I want McDonald's. Moonlight, if you're watching, I'm okay and I don't need McDonald's. I'm full. I had rice and beans. So, no, I don't need McDonald's. Enjoy. Thank you. Oh, she just ran in. They're like, I'm getting messages on my message chat, and it's crazy. Weird world. So, I wrote a song called Xanadu years ago. I recorded it with a few friends. We were calling ourselves, for musical purposes, Nautical Scum. And we made a bunch of songs and recorded them. And the video we made for Xanadu, you can watch it on YouTube. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You can watch it on Facebook because it's a 360 video. It's 360. You can, using your phone, you can look around a 3D world. So look up Nautical Scum Xanadu. But I'm going to show you an edited version of it now that you can't control. But normally you can control what you see. And I wanted to try to explain what it meant through the song in a very simple manner. So how I wrote the song, the first thing I did was I played a riff on my guitar. On my son's guitar. He had a classical acoustic guitar. So I played a riff. The guitar was not in tune. I don't even know what it was tuned to. So it was out of tune. And then I tuned it to itself, out of tune, recorded it on an iPhone, emailed it to my buddy, and we ended up making a song, and then I ended up cutting vocal tracks. So I'm going to play it right now. I actually like this song because it was me stepping out of my songwriting comfort zone. It's me on guitar, which I never play live ever, and singing. Sean Pierce produced it, did some instrumentations, and he directed the video, which what I'm going to show you does not do it justice because it's a 360 video. And you'll see me and some other weird stuff in it. So here it is. Enjoy.
Explain what it means to me. My time will run out, and I'm no longer free. Xanadu, 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 Xanadu. Explain what it means to me. My time will run out, and and I'm no longer free. Xanadu, 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 Xanadu.
Okay, that's Xanadu. There's actual footage of right after Sandy, the boardwalk was destroyed, and you can see it in that opening part. Yeah, and as you can see, I'm moving it around. There's so much going on in certain things that if you flip it around, there's other things. I couldn't show it all. Yeah, if I have to explain what it means to me, my time will run out, and I'm no longer free. I just came up with a simple lyric there. I wanted to basically, and it's funny because, and this is where I'm going to end tonight. I'm almost 50 years old, and I meet people, and I live a different lifestyle. A lot of people watching this do. You live, I don't want to say alternative lives, but, you know, it's not necessarily so cookie cutter. If you're an artist or a free thinker or you're into certain music types or whatever it is, we have a lot of occultists in here. Whenever you meet a muggle, somebody who's not from the world of which I'm from, I'm always explaining myself. And there is a time and place for that. But it does get a little tiring sometimes. And so to me, my version of ataraxia, my Xanadu, my peace, my tranquility, my happiness, my joy, it just is what it is. And yeah, if I'm explaining it, I'm not being it. So that's why, and it's funny because that song, it started off as literally bum 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 bum. Like, I just wrote that. It just came out, and I literally, the version you just heard is the iPhone track. It got used as the main guitar track, which is crazy that you can do that now. And I wanted it to be simple and kind of have that feeling of, look, just be. That's what Xanadu is. Just do your thing. And it's funny because I wrote that before I started doing this crazy philosophy dive, and it is all there. It's ataraxia. It's living according to your nature. Be yourself. Do your thing as best as you can. I remember Anton LaVey had a quote about a spider being the best spider he could be. He's like, I could never squash a spider, but I can easily kill a person. Why? Well, a spider's being the best spider he could be. You know, he fits into nature perfectly. He's like, people don't do that. I always thought that was a funny one. Like, it's true. Animals, even when they're hurt or handicapped or whatever, there's no scapegoat. They have their deck of cards, their hand they were dealt, and they go for it to their best ability. There's no debating, there's no arguing, there's no spin, there's no scapegoating, and there's no blaming. They just go for it. And if they succeed, cool. If they don't, fine. It is what it is. So I always thought that's what Xanadu meant for me. I have no idea why I put that as part of this episode today. It doesn't matter. Xanadu's good at all times. It's something I do like to think about the word Xanadu and the word ataraxia, that there is a word that means a state of being that's very simple yet crazy complex. And on that note, it's 9:02. It's Monday, my favorite day of the week. I've got a group of people in here that I love hanging with, but I'm going to go to a party right now. Yes, I party on Monday nights. So this week, I'm going to be around. I am working on some great episodes. I'm going to do an episode on pipe smoking. I don't like calling myself an expert in anything, but I know a lot about pipe tobacco, briar pipes, meerschaum pipes, clay pipes. I have books upon books. I know how to clean them, scrape them. I know how to ream pipes. I know all the different tobaccos that make up English blends, and I don't smoke tobacco anymore. I don't. And the other day I was showing my pipe collection to somebody, and they were like, "You should do this on the show." And I'm like, eh. And then I was like, no, you're right, I should. I like collecting pipes. I like smoking them. Nicotine is bad for me. So I cut it out. But that doesn't mean I love my pipes and I will never get rid of them. And if I get old enough, I might start smoking them again. If I get to a certain age. So I'm working on that. I'm working on a Behind the Devil's Curtain episode that's going to blow everybody's minds, and I do not want to skimp on it. And I have a lot of other cool stuff in the works. In the meantime, stay tuned, subscribe, hit the subscribe button. The donors, go ahead. It goes in the show. If you want to donate, it goes right in the show, and it's making the show better. So that's cool too. But the least I can ask, subscribe, notify, and hit the like. If you're new, it's participation. If you're thinking about picking up a tobacco pipe, you should definitely wait till I do my episode. Because there are bad pipes. There are pipes sold as nice pipes that aren't that great. And you won't know that right away. So, thank you. Well, if you dug what you heard, check it out. Go back and listen. Because I try to make these episodes meaty. I don't like fluff. I want you to think. I'm trying to get you to go think. Because the more I get you to think, the more I want to go think. And it's just a can of worms that's awesome. So everybody in here, Ruby, Joel, Lilith, Amanda, William, Lazarus, who else is in here? We got Ruby's in here, my sister, my mama, Amanda, Cassandra. Thank you all. Sean, Joel, John, who else? Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Great episode. I'll see you around. I'll definitely be here on Monday. I might be here on Wednesday. Friday. What is Friday? Maybe I'll do one on Friday this week. Let me see. I don't know yet. I can't say. I think I have to go to the Film Fest on Friday, too. At any rate, my name's Cardone. This is episode 90. Holy moly. You're watching Evening Hour Live, and I will see you next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. Party on Wayne. I'm going to take us out with the outro. And, Mama, good night, Mama. We'll chat tomorrow. Yeah. Party on.